Terp Trends, the podcast where we dive into the dynamic world of cannabis, culture, and business innovation. Today, we're thrilled to sit down with Terrence White, a visionary in the cannabis space and the driving force behind Monko, a luxury cannabis brand and lifestyle experience based in Washington, D.C. As the CEO and founder of Monko, Terrence has been making waves not just by offering premium cannabis, but by intertwining his brand with a powerful commitment to social equality and community upliftment. He has been a pivotal advocate for social justice and has taken his passion for change from boardrooms to boutique experiences, all while building Monko into a top destination for cannabis enthusiasts. In addition to his work with Monko, Terrence brings a wealth of knowledge from stays in real estate, where he handled over $400 million in transactions and founded multiple companies. Today, we're going to explore how he translates that expertise into his cannabis ventures, why he believes blending luxury with community impact, and what's next for his brand in this ever-evolving, changing industry. From his community-driven initiatives to his handpicked strains and elegant store design, Terrence is setting a new standard in cannabis retail. Let's join us as we get behind-the-scenes look into Monko's mission, its products, and the mind of a leader dedicated to reimagining the cannabis industry, and not only, but the nation's capital. This is Terp Trends. Let's dive in.
Yeah, man, it's been a journey. Thanks for having me, Adam. And, me, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and cannabis has, it's a different world. It's a different animal. Because when you don't have infrastructure and then you're in a nation's capital with all the challenges in terms of cultivation and adult use and all the things, you have to find a niche and you have to find a way to be a survivor. And, this new chapter of business has allowed me to look at things through a different lens, not from a perspective of advocacy, lobbyists to policy to actually owner and operator.
Yeah.
So I wear a lot of different hats, but I have to wear these hats in order to survive.
Mm-hmm. And you've earned all of them from everything I've read.
Well, yeah. As much is given, as much is required, as they say, and, if you don't have a spiritual base and if you don't have a way to go get it, I have an underdog approach. Being a returned citizen, before then, I wasn't privileged, but I found myself not thinking about the lack of dominion. And once you go to prison, you lose a lot of your freedoms. Which, you lose dominion. And when you lose dominion, it gives you a edge to be the underdog, to fight like the underdog, regardless if you're the favorite or not. I still, every day I wake up, I have a underdog approach about how to go get something. And God has given me gifts to be able to navigate within this space, and I thank him for that. Because if it wasn't for that, a lot of people, especially independent operators, they fold tent, and I haven't folded the tent. The tent's still up.
Yeah.
So
it's still going.
Yeah. So we're still fighting, and tomorrow's a different day. We fight today and to wake up tomorrow to do the same thing. So that's the attitude and the approach.
Yeah. Well, it seems like some of the things that you said, I have a list of quotes that I've written down, just hearing the way you talk and everything that you're coming about. And like what you said before, it's cannabis is not just about the one community. It's about the whole resolve of communities that this one plant has brought together. And I think with that, you're fighting to break down the stigma that we have falsely associated with this plant that definitely makes us all connected. So with that, do you feel like from a young age you were kind of connected connected to cannabis then? Has it always
Yeah,
been in your life?
I mean, obviously in life, you go through life, and I've been around the plant since I was 6, 7 years old. And my mom's twin brother grew cannabis in the back of my grandfather's hog farm. You've probably seen that quote somewhere. But in that, you know, um, you know, seeing my uncle and my father roll a joint with seeds, and you hear the seeds popping, and just it's a different age, different time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think where I really reunited with the plant was 2010 when I was in prison.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you read the quote, but a good friend of mine, ex-teammate buddy of mine, was in prison for cannabis. And I couldn't figure out why he had more time than I did.
Yeah.
Because I'm also a historian, poli sci buff,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew in 1984 the Supreme Court had said that cannabis was legal, municipal wise, and I'm like, well, why are we still going through this?
Yeah.
Then you saw the big movement in 2009, 2010, while I was in prison. Boehner, you know, got Colorado, and cannabis has always been a staple in California. But when you go to heartland of America and you start changing the minds, the free will of people to get them on board, um, then you started seeing the movement.
Yeah.
And now I think we're 36 states are medically legal.
Yeah.
So we're around there,
Around
36,
there.
37.
Yep.
And then about 16 or 17 are adult use.
Yeah.
And so we've seen a movement in a 14-year period of time that's pretty significant. But um, the upside of this is that there's a lot more to do.
Yeah.
Um, you know, we still have to build an infrastructure. We have no banking, the
Yeah.
280E, rescheduling, all of these things are with a new administration. We don't know what's going to happen. And that's, for cannabis owners and operators, it's always a challenge because you don't know,
Oh,
it's
it's you wake up the next morning and your whole schedule or how you plan and how you do your whole business is at the mercy of PA is the DOH and everything. And it's you're
yeah,
waiting on a new email being
it's
like,
just
"Oh, we can't do this anymore. Change it all." And you're like,
like it's like playing
"Whoa,
it's like playing Texas Hold'em. You're waiting
yeah,
for the river. You
yeah,
don't know what car is going to be flipped. And so it's a again, it's a challenge every day, but I fell in love and grown a passion for it. And you know, love hurts,
yeah,
and
oh
love
yeah,
is great.
yep,
It's a two-way street. So um, I'm in it to win it, as they say. But more than anything else, you talked about the community aspect. You know, if you don't bring the culture, cannabis has always been about culture, especially in
mm,
the Black and Brown community. Hip hop,
oh yeah,
um, even
music,
before
everything,
music,
yeah,
music
jazz
was
before hip
jazz.
hop, yep,
Yeah, exactly. But now, when you're talking about uh, not only people of color, but you're talking about the LGBTQ community. You're talking about the veterans community. Um, when you start talking about social equity, uh, injustice, um, you're talking about all people of color,
yeah,
because not only Black and Brown people have gone to prison for cannabis, but white people have gone to prison for cannabis.
yeah,
Um, and so when we start talking about justice and reciprocity, we have to understand that cannabis is a lifestyle.
hmm
whether you practice it from a medical standpoint or from a recreation or adult use standpoint.
100%.
Um, it is used in people's daily life. Um, some use it to meditate. Some use it for healing. Some use it for mental. They
Yeah.
just need a mental break. They need to escape. So you have to understand these communities, and especially now in this climate that
Yeah.
we live in, it's such a toxic climate
Yeah.
where we're talking about transgender, we're talking about people getting deported. A
Yeah.
lot of people turn to an element or something that will allow their mind to get away for that
Yep.
moment or that period. Now, it's not a cure. Let's not We're not here to say that, hey, cannabis is a cure, but
No.
it is a healer in its own sense.
Yeah.
Plant is gone before Christ. That you can date it, predate it before Christ. So we've used it for tea, which is heal people.
Yeah.
And then when we started smoking, you go to um, the Asian emperors using cannabis to.
Yep.
That's how the whole topical thing came, to use it to
Hmm.
heal the body. And then we started to smoke it, and
Yeah.
so um, we use this plant for so many varices or reasons, but it doesn't see color, it doesn't see race.
No.
um, it's not manufactured,
Mm-mm.
it's not a design drug. Now its genetics can be designed,
100%. Yeah.
but in its natural state,
Yeah.
um, if used properly, it's something that people who use it need, because it's not it's become part of their daily life, their
Yeah.
lifestyle, their routine.
100%. 100%.
So as a business owner, I'm here to take the stitch and stigma. I wanted to get in the cannabis space because I saw a niche in DC to take the stitch and stigma. I wanted
Yeah.
to bring. Not too many people in the country says, "Oh, you're opening a luxury cannabis store." Well, I did, and I 2 years in business, and I'm striving and working hard every day to
Yeah.
make it 3 and 5 years in the business.
Not even just a luxury cannabis store, but you're like reimagining retail cannabis in the nation's capital.
Yeah,
Like that's a whole other like thing to put on it, you know?
yeah, it is. And what fulfills me is that when people walk up and say, "You own Monko," I said, "Yeah." They like, I had the greatest experience. I was talking to a guy last night. I was at an event. He said, "I came in to spend $60 and I spent $350 because
Yeah.
your people were educated."
Hmm.
And when I asked the young lady about a product, she said, "I don't know, but my colleagues said X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
And he said to me, she wasn't trying to sell me. She was trying to educate me. And that's what it's about. If we can't if we can't educate people at Monco, and Pleasant Hill Wellness, if we can't do that, then I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Because most people who go to buy flower, vape, edible, they just want to know what you're getting.
Yeah.
How's it going to affect me?
Hmm.
Yeah, they want to be high, but they want to know if it's a full body, if it's an upper, is it a downer, am I going to sleep? Is it going to make me, is it going to, make
Yeah.
me hungry? There's a lot of different variables. So, you know, we pride ourselves, excuse me, on educating our customers. And that's part of the deal. That's part of, it's just
Oh
not about
yeah.
taking the money.
No. And your people, your employees, they're gonna be the face of it, you know. So that's great that they take the time and they understand that community aspect of not not what do you want, but more of what would you like to feel, how do you want to feel? What are you looking, to get out of this? And everything that I've read, all of the community reviews have been so positive about everybody at your store and the way they interact with everybody. And me being a bud tender for many years in different programs, it's great to see it. It's really cool to understand that you guys grabbed that idea, on how to just educate the community more on a product.
Absolutely. And if we can't educate ourselves on product, and if we can't allow ourselves to be um, a place where we're not only educating, we're actually taking a step and creating an experience.
Yes.
And that's what, my whole idea behind luxury cannabis. It was the
Hmm.
product, the education, but most of all, the experience and customer service.
Yeah.
And if you check those boxes, 9 times out of 10, any retail store that you go into, if they check those boxes, you're coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You know,
it's
that's
cool.
you know, and when you walk into Walmart, you know what you're gonna get. You know it's cheap. You're gonna get bad service most of the time. You might get a price. It's dictated from day one what the experience is gonna be like.
Hmm.
That's why Target opened across the street because they're saying, "Hey, we're gonna give you a better experience, higher prices, same products, but we're going to give you a better experience." And as you go up that chain, it's the same thing. And for me, taking the stitch and stigma and being in the nation's capital, and like I said, I was meeting with a council member today, trying to continue to um, get legislation
Hmm.
and make DC cannabis world better. And it's a challenge, brother. It's a challenge. Every morning I wake up, thank God and for that. But we looking at through the lens
Yeah.
and understanding, it's the glass is half empty every day.
Yeah.
How we fill that glass up.
And what do you think their biggest pushback and like behind it all, especially in DC?
Well, DC problem is a cultivation. It's a supply problem.
Yeah.
This landlocked. There's 8.8 square miles, and trying to figure out how to solve that issue. Because
And
DC also,
you're fully vertical, right? Integrated with
yeah,
the
I'm
Pleasant
working.
Hill.
I have vertical license. I'm
Okay, I
on
got you.
working on
Getting that
succeeding
space. Yeah. Yeah.
base, and that's been a challenge because what I was about to say before you asked the question was, um, we have a not a huge inventory of industrial space or so right now I'm looking into doing something that's DC's first, which be I'm looking to do an indoor outdoor grow,
Work. Nice.
um, where we um, preferably that will work out for us,
Yeah.
but that would it would solve so many problems in the city,
Yeah.
in turn. And I'm all about solutions. How do
Sure.
we how do we find solutions? So working with council to try to see how we can continue to get some legislation to help. But man, it's tough.
Oh, I'm sure. At least luckily with the retail knowledge and that backing of understanding of infrastructure, at least you have an idea of how to go about it and get into that space and what you need to look for. So I think that definitely gives you a little edge, hopefully.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and I mean, and as a business owner, you got to look at, you got to do a SWOT. What's your
Hmm.
strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats?
Hmm.
And when you look at from that standpoint, how do I overcome the
Yeah.
weaknesses and the threats? And that's what it comes down to. And then how do I capitalize on opportunities and the strengths?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm looking at another location licensed doing, people come to me, they want to put a Monko, working with different people like that, how to
Hmm.
make that work, right? And because people love the model, people,
Yeah.
understand that. So we're just, working as smart,
Yeah.
but also, we're cautiously optimistic about how to overcome these things.
Nice.
I just don't know with this administration.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know much with the Washington, but I know PA. It's a little wild.
Yeah,
I mean, we're still even trying to fight adult use. I mean, we have medical use, but other than that, we don't even know when that's going to change. And all our surrounding states allow, you know.
yeah,
So it's just weird how we have all of the evidence out there, And it's, at this point, it's like you're just gatekeeping it. Like, why
yeah.
not let it open?
I mean, the thing about it is that when you have a bunch of older gentlemen who control
Yeah.
both chambers,
Yeah.
then you have um, Johnson, who's from Louisiana, and they're fighting. They try to put the Ten Commandments in every classroom.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court just put a stay on that until they heard the case. A lot of these Bible Belt or evangelical Christians
Hmm.
don't like cannabis. They don't understand. So as we talk about woke and we're talking about cancer culture and woke culture, a lot of these legislators, they don't understand that, especially the southern ones, the ones
Yeah.
they don't understand it. And Pennsylvania is a Commonwealth state,
Hmm.
which has a huge Western PA is different than Eastern PA.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little split.
Yeah, and so it's a different concept. I grew up part of my life outside Philly, um,
Okay.
in Jersey,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where you have to understand not only geographically what's going on, but a lot of people don't pay attention to what's going on from a policy and legislation standpoint.
Correct.
Because I give you an example. Maryland under Hogan, cannabis wasn't great. Under Westmore, he's pardoned people. You know, they're giving $5 million to cultivators, $500,000 to retailers. It's
Hmm.
like they got a lot of things going on. Most states don't want to take their tax money and put it back in the industry.
No.
So a lot of people are winning in Maryland, but like anything else, can't oversaturate it because once it gets oversaturated, then you got a market that no one wins.
No. No.
So the reason I stay in DC because DC can get oversaturated.
Yeah.
Even with I-71, it was oversaturated. Now we're going to go online with about 60 retailers, 65 retailers.
Okay.
Our problem will still be cultivation.
Yeah.
Our problem will still be that we have a rider so that we can't be adult.
Mm.
We're still fighting that legislative. Andy Harris is a congressman from Eastern Maryland. And I don't know if you're aware of that, but DC has a rider. DC approved recreation cannabis back in 2000, 1998 is when they approved
Oh,
America,
wow. Okay.
a medical
Yeah.
marijuana. I think in 2002 or six is when they approved recreation.
Wow.
Then in 14,
But there weren't stores, right?
huh?
Like it was approved, but there were no stores or anything yet,
So in
right?
14 is when they did I-71, which
Okay.
allow you to be adult use. So
I got you.
maybe my years may be mixed up, but in 14 for certain,
Yeah.
um, they voted on a bill called the I-71 bill, which allow you to carry up to be recreational up to 2 ounces. And so that's when the stores came.
Yeah.
And so now they're trying to actually, they're enforcing to close the stores that are not municipal or have a license.
Yeah.
So, we're in a fight. I was the chairman of the I-71 committee. Got 13 amendments passed. And now we're trying to get more amendments passed to help out with the municipal and how to get these 60 retailers in a winning position. We see 6.5 million people a month ride our subways in our 8.8 square mile city. But we have 23 million people a year visit DC.
Yeah.
So, we have 800 residents, but
The traffic.
It should be $1 a year business here. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
So, we're probably $400 or $500 million a year business.
Yeah.
It should be. Maryland has over 6 million people when they did $1.1 billion last year.
It's amazing.
Yeah. In a small state like that, it is amazing. But they took a lot of that tax money and they put back into the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's some lessons here to be learned.
Oh yeah. Do you think you taking shop up in DC inspired and influenced you to push more of a luxurious brand? Because I feel like with more of luxury, you're going to break down more of the stigma, and you're going to invite more people to be more comfortable that maybe would not just go walk into a dispensary in Colorado or something like that just because that's not them. But you're introducing it more to open to everybody to feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I think that, and I think the reason is that for me, I'm a luxury guy.
Yeah.
I think that you take on the attitude or what you are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I believe in customer service,
Yeah.
and I don't. I'm not saying that you have to always have a Neiman's or a Saks attitude, but I think you have to have the attitude of the old Nordstroms, not the new ones. Is that customers is first, and taking the stitch and stigma off of cannabis. That's what it comes down to. And you have to understand that you know, in building a luxury brand, it takes a while.
Oh yeah.
People have to buy into what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, but for every 10 customers, I keep 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
My retention rate is about 70%.
That's awesome.
So, our the luxury approach has been defined by what you make it.
Mm-hmm.
I came from the real estate business where luxury condos and houses in DC is what sells.
Yeah.
So the finishes that I put in the store would be the same finishes that I would put in a house.
Which are very impressive.
Yeah.
Marble.
Marble, tile, um, lighting, all those things have to be, but more or less
Feng shui as well. Just your
way.
flow of your store looks
Well,
good.
and then you have to take what's going on. I take the neighborhood and put it inside the store.
Yeah.
If the neighborhood is saying that, hey, we had, $6,000-7,000 a month apartment building, 2 bedrooms, they're in a luxury building. Why would they want to walk out of that and not get what they live in?
Yeah.
You have to be able to relate with people, and you have to meet them at their purse.
Yeah.
Or their wallet.
Yeah.
You do so. Well, we've been great at what we do. The national average per ticket, average cart runs about $77, $78. I run about $125.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we've been able to excel. I've been in business for 2 years. We're close to about 19,000 customers.
Wow.
We've utilized this. We took this to a whole different level in terms of that. We're, approaching 1,600 reviews in 2 years.
Yeah.
Basically a 4.9, 5.0 reviews.
Which is great.
So we do the grunt work.
Yeah.
And that's the half the battle is about how do we serve? Because we only get one opportunity once for to walk through the door to keep
Yep.
you as a customer.
Yep.
Everybody can't relate. I'm not a $25, $30, $8 guy. That's not me. I'm here to destigmatize cannabis. And when you start talking bad product and, cheap product, you water down people.
Yep.
And once you start watering down product, people feel like, oh, it's this or it's that. I'm out.
Yeah. I think that's how you set the bar. That's how you set yourself different.
Yeah.
That's how you carry that luxury.
Absolutely.
That's just to the T of it. That's cool.
Yeah. And you have to market yourself and position yourself in those marketplaces or advertisement in places where it's luxury. It's going to cost you more. So everything about us is different because we have to have that mindset. But in order to have market shares and in order to continue to build brand identity, that's what you have to do. Because you touching points. How many touching points can I get with somebody?
It makes you prominent and a figure that people are going to go to and look after, like you've already experiencing. People are following and wanting to follow your business model of it. I think that leads to just saying your success with it. It's going somewhere.
Well, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I am trying to be a pioneer. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And not just for being a business owner, but we have flower to the people. And the advocacy work, the lobbyist work, the community engagement means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you can go out and help your brothers and your sisters who are returned citizens or people of color that have been affected by the war on drugs. If you can go in and work with different communities, the gay community, the trans community, those things like that. How do the veterans community? And just communities. The indigenous Indians who are actually hosting a conference here this week. Tribal. How to work and be effective. Not only for your community but other communities as well, because cannabis is universal.
Yeah, it's in all of them.
Yes, and when something's universal, you can't just say, "Hey, I'm on a deal with one community." One thing about math, you can take the equation anywhere in the world, it's going to work.
Yeah,
that formula is going to work.
Yeah,
because it's universal.
Yeah,
and that's the mindset I have with cannabis. The and as you look over the history of what is going on in the wave in this country, you know, in the 40s and 50s, cannabis, Arkansas, Kentucky was that place where you got the best cannabis.
Yeah.
And then as you started talking about Woodstock, California, and then California just kind of took the torch and kept it.
Yeah. Yeah. They did.
And so you got to look at those type things uh, and see. But luckily, because California was liberal, a lot more liberal than most states, so people were turning their head.
Yeah.
But it also helped the cannabis community because with these genetics that we had now versus 20, 30 years ago, it's day and night.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane where the science took the plant so far,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, looking forward to seeing how I can continue to um, be a staple or pioneer in the space
Hmm.
from electric cannabis, creating products, but also continuing to build a legacy of helping others and
Yes.
those communities. And it's just this is all about keeping yourself humble and understanding, getting these opportunities to speak with you and other people. Um, to get the word and to build relationships across the country.
Yeah, I think it's you and I speaking right now is literally an example of how powerful this cannabis community is. I don't think I would be able to sit down and interview individuals just on our side of the country in any other topic without having such a other backing, but just going off words of others or just a platform of just solid grounds of understanding. It's just like that's what this plant is all about is the community, and it brings us, we got to understand this one thing really is what's going to bring us all together.
Yeah, and again, cannabis has no face.
Yeah.
You know, we over these last few 8 years, 10 years, this country's become dark.
Hmm.
You know, we live in the best country in the world, but we
Yeah.
just had an election cycle where people couldn't get out of bed for 2 days because they didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about deporting people, man, putting them in private jails and sending them back
It's
with their kids that were U.S. born and bred.
hmm
We're living in a different society, brother. But cannabis has no face,
hmm
and I don't say this, and I say this with full content and you know love is that when you have something that actually helps people um, get get through things,
Yeah.
you have to understand that it's bigger than you.
hmm Yeah. Well, I think it's just a good moral standing too, to give people the opportunity to get that. You know.
Right. Yeah. It's just and so I will you know and again I appreciate you and others doing these podcasts to actually so people can get their stories out and that
Hmm.
and it's just not about advertising promoting, but we talk about something real, something that's
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and
we got to. I think
yeah,
the more we educate in the way that you're doing and what I'm going to try to do is the way we break down the stigma that we have around the plant. And that's how
yeah.
the more people understand in a positive way, the less there's fear. Because fear just comes from things that are unknown or untrue, most likely.
Fear is false illusions appearing real.
Hmm.
But when people start getting illusions, whether they're false or real, the realness is behind your thought process
Hmm.
of what your fears are.
Yeah.
Because fears totally basically comes down to insecurities.
Hmm.
And, if you can't put yourself in a situation to be secured, what
Yeah.
anchors you?
Hmm.
You know, that's where it gets lost. So, um, I'm looking forward to the next chapter in this cannabis space and how to overcome these hurdles and obstacles
Yeah.
um, and how to fight them um, you know, daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly.
Yeah, because you're on the process of store number 2, right?
We're number two, and we're going municipal, so it's a different market. How do I skin this cat? How do we peel the onion? You know, and not only that, how do I build this 40-50,000 square foot indoor outdoor grow? You know, to solve a lot of problems here in the District of Columbia.
Yeah,
But more than that, how do I build a brand that um, is recognized not only locally but nationally?
yeah,
And that's what I'm working on.
yeah. You're in the right place for it.
How to build a national brand where people Monko is national. People know, and that's what I pray for. That's what I'm hoping for every day. Um, I strive for every day. How do I build this brand identity? How do I, and I think that's so you know that's my prayers, and that's my drive and my passion.
Yeah. Well, you see it for anyone that's going to look it up and they see your storefront or just your branding and your logo. And I mean, it's powerful, man. I think it's definitely going to put its stamp, put its stamp on it.
Yeah, I think again, we're going to see what happens
Yeah.
here in the next 6 months. I just again, when DC changes underwear, as I call it, every 4 years. You just never know, brother. You just
Yeah.
never know. And so we're gonna keep our fingers crossed, and prayers lifted, and we'll see what prevails.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully once you get all that going, we'll have you back and we'll do a little update,
Yeah,
see how you're doing. I'd love to get
absolutely,
down there and see it, man. I mean,
absolutely. Now you're
it is
in
remarkable.
where are you at in PA?
So I'm not far out of Philadelphia. I'm in like Doylestown area.
Okay, yeah,
hmm hmm
yeah,
I've been traveling a lot, and I put some. I think I'm putting some roots back down in PA. So finding
okay,
that niche again and seeing what I'm doing. But yeah, it's been
yeah,
fun. It's been fun.
yeah,
It's good to be
yeah.
back. Yeah, beautiful
Well,
state,
hey,
beautiful surrounding.
right. Well, hey, one thing about you got to go somewhere where it feels like home. Because once
Yeah.
it starts feeling like home, you can get a lot done.
Yes, sir.
If you're somewhere where it doesn't feel like home, it's always, you know,
Yeah.
it never sits. You just never settle.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. Well, man, I don't want to keep you too long. I appreciate all that. That was great.
Hey, man, appreciate it anytime. Let me know if you ever need me back. I'll be glad to
Yeah.
jump back with you, brother.
Oh, always. Is there anything that you want to release or put out? Anything like that? You kind of got your
Well,
hands full right now, so
my hands is full, man. But anybody that's visiting the District of Columbia, I'm at, I own Monko. We're at 444 K Street in the middle of Mount Vernon Triangle. Our handle is Monkey D.C. On Instagram. If you ever, need me, feel free to reach out to me. I'm T-White at Monko.co. That's T-White at Monko.co. I'm always sitting on panels or doing something. So
Mhm.
it's a blessing to be in this space. And thanks a lot, Adam. I
Yeah, man.
appreciate you.
Shout out Zoe for making it happen.
Joey Wilder, the best in the business, the best PR in the business. Don't get no better than her. Her and Michael were great. So thanks, bro. Take care of yourself, man. You too. Good luck with everything. Bye bye.